So welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul. This is TN Football, and today we have something different. I am joined by my co-host of the Football Manager podcast, Dictate the Tempo. Colin, thank you for joining me.
Glad to be here. Glad to be talking some summertime football.
We're going to be discussing soccer. And the reason we're going to be discussing it, and the reason you are such a valuable guest in this, is that we've decided, well, the world of football, well, FIFA, have decided to sell out to the United States. Is it the US and Mexico, or is it just the US hosting this competition?
Well, World Cup is all within the United States.
Okay. And the World Cup, is the World Cup in Canada, US and Mexico, or is it just the US and Mexico?
Yes. Nope, all three.
All three. Okay, so see, we are using your knowledge of the United States of America, which I am gaining more knowledge because we've just finished last night watching the series 1883, and we're now going to move on to 1923. So I don't want to brag, but if you need to know anything about cowboys in Montana tonight, Colin, I am your guy.
My man, okay. I got Cowboys in Arizona by me, so if we need to compare differences,
we can like you go and film them, and we'll compare how they look compared to the older people.
But so if you need Cowboys from my area, for where I'm at is Tombstone. If you go back and watch
Tombstone,
the movie Tombstone.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out because I do like cowboy stuff.
That's literally my where I'm at right now is Tombstone. And I'm about an hour from Tombstone.
I assume people are going to ask, so we'll do it before we move on to discussing the Club World Cup. Is that chair in the background your spare chair?
That is my wife's chair.
We all know it. We all know it is. So
no, that's hers. That's her chair.
We're gonna take away me and you. And I'm going to screen share to the lovely people the teams in the Club World Cup. So give me a second. So here we are, Colin. We are looking at the teams that have qualified for this Club World Cup. So first off, from Asia. Yes, so we have Al Ain, Al Hilal, Ulsan, which I know from South Korea. Don't want to brag. And Wow. How do you say that?
Urawa Red Diamonds. I believe they're Japan.
I mean, the Red Diamonds bit I could nail. The start of it, not so much. Then we move to CONCACAF. You have Monterrey, Pachuca, Inter Miami, who obviously deserve to be there, LAFC, and Seattle Sound. Here's a question for you, Colin. So, the reason Liverpool were not allowed to enter, where they were only allowed 2 teams from each country. Are Seattle representing a totally different country?
No, there was an issue with the qualification. So there was actually a Liga MX side out of Mexico. I forget which one it was. I want to say like Tigres, but I don't remember off the top of my head. That actually shared an ownership group with another side, so they were unable to participate in it because they have that same thing that was going on with like Lyon and Crystal Palace before, right? Where they shared that one resolved because the ownership sharing was less than 50%, but there was a 50% ownership sharing. So Seattle and LA actually got in through the legitimate qualification mechanism. The gap was Inter Miami. There was some ordeal between whether Inter Miami or Club America out of Liga MX would be the other team to round out. And as we all know, everybody on FIFA's side was overwhelmingly incentivized to make sure that Lionel Messi was on TV. So however that resolved, Inter Miami appeared in the mix.
So strange that, isn't it? Strange. So from CONMEBOL, you have Botafogo, Boca Juniors, River Plate, Flamengo, Palmeiras, and Fluminense. Again, more than 2 teams from each from a country there. So I don't quite understand what, unless you meant just from UEFA,
Or
there was only two.
I think it was UEFA because there's
Okay.
two Argentinian teams and
Yeah.
the four Brazilian sides there.
You see Auckland City from New Zealand. Then we have Atletico Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Internacional, Porto, Salzburg. I really don't understand that one. Juventus, Manchester City, PSG, Real Madrid, and Benfica. So Barcelona didn't get in. From what I understand, it was the last 4 years of records. Atletico Madrid were ahead of Barcelona. Salzburg, Colin. That's I mean, Salzburg. You could probably argue Benfica as well. To be fair, over the likes of Ajax, but Salzburg. What's going on there? Do we know how or why they are in? Is it Red Bull? Like, what's going on?
It's the I believe they use the coefficient listing for it. So when you go down for qualified teams on the coefficient listing, they happen to show up
Really?
and get there.
Like,
Deeper, I suspect, is largely driven by better domestic performance, right? So they dominate.
yeah,
They've been a dominant force in the Austrian Bundesliga, as well as Europa and Conference League play. I
strange.
suspect they're not going to be a terror. I don't. I suspect they're not going to upset the apple cart in any sort of meaningful fashion.
No,
Um,
I mean, so go through the groups quickly. You have
well, you missed
Palmeiras.
you missed you missed you missed Africa.
Did
You
I miss
missed
Africa? I don't. Are you
yeah,
sure?
you missed Africa.
Where's that at
Yeah, you
then?
missed yeah, the CAF. There you
Oh,
go.
did I just jump over it? Did I? I mean, I don't want to
Yeah,
claim
you
that they're
jumped
not
right
going to
over
win
it.
it. I don't want to claim that they're not going to win it, Colin. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm going to ask you to
No, but we
pronounce
can
these
highlight the
names.
teams.
Oh,
Sure, we
Sundowns. I
have
can say that.
there you go. We have Al Ahali. I believe they're out of Egypt.
They are. I do know that
Um,
one.
Esperanza de Tunisia out of Tunisia.
That's cheating.
Mamelodi Sundowns, which I believe is
South
that South
Africa? I
Africa?
think so. Sundowns, South
I think
Africa.
so. And Wydad, which I believe is also out of
I
Egypt.
was hoping I could hover over and it would tell me. Well, I apologise to the South African teams from all of our viewers. uh,
No
standings:
worries.
Group A: Palmeiras,
Yep.
Porto, Al Ali, and Inter Miami. Is it the top two are going through in the group, Colin?
Yes.
So what are we thinking? We thinking Palmeiras and Porto, or are you expecting Messi
Yeah.
to shock the world?
No. No. Palmeiras and Porto. We're going to go out of this one. Palmeiras. So just living in this side of the universe, and I watch a fairly significant amount of Copa Libertadores, Sudamericana, and just Brazil and Argentina in general. Palmeiras is a machine. They're a little off kilter this year. I mean, I think they're third, but they've been an absolute wrecking crew the last few years. So I think there's a good chance Palmeiras wins the group, but it's going to be Palmeiras and Porto that get out of this one.
Okay.
Miami's just not there, and I apologize, but I just don't rate I just don't rate.
we c-
Unfortunately, from a comparative perspective, at a club level, I think Africa, Asia, and Oceania just aren't in the
no,
same
I
universe.
agree. The next group I think is interesting. So you have PSG, Champions League winners now in Europe, Atletico Madrid, Botafogo, and Seattle Sounders. So is it a European 1-2, or are Botafogo a team not to be messed with?
So they were. I think they're sitting fifth or sixth in Brazil right now. They've been on a heater and a half the last couple of years. I think it was 2 years ago. They absolutely walked the Brazilian league, um, and just came out firing on all cylinders. I think PSG wins the group. I think Seattle finishes fourth. The Atletico Botafogo game dictates who who gets out of second. I think that one, from my perspective, I think that's a little too close to call right now.
Yeah.
Because Madrid, right? Obviously, like Madrid hasn't really played in the last month almost, and Brazil is absolutely in mid-season. So Botafogo's in, continental stuff in South America. The Brazil Cup is in swing, and the league is kind of mid-season. Is getting into the kind of mid-season level. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a hell of a game.
I think Group C looks actually. I don't think there's much to go between the second place. So Bayern Munich are going to be winning this group.
Yeah,
I don't want to be disrespectful to Auckland City, but I think they are going to finish bottom. So then we have
I would
Boca
agree.
and Benfica, who I guess it's almost a toss-up over who's going to get second and who's going to get third here.
I would say I think Benfica should get through this. Boca have just not been particularly good.
Okay. I think I would take your knowledge over that. South American,
Yeah,
the time zone for the
I
games,
mean
it's I don't see much.
they're. I will firmly admit that the Argentine league structure is just like 8 steps to baffling to me as to how the hell they do it. They're tied on points first in this like two group league phase segment right now, but they haven't been particularly good.
Yeah.
Um, they haven't been on a particularly good run.
Group D, you have
Yeah.
Flamengo from Brazil. You have Tunisia from Tunisia. We assuming Chelsea and LAFC. Well, I mean Chelsea. It depends which 25 players they turn up with. LAFC, I've seen a little bit of. Giroud needs to score some goals if you're going to do anything. Flamengo, again, your knowledge on that is a lot more than mine. What are we thinking? Is it a Chelsea and Flamengo 1-2? Is the US sides not going
Um,
through in any of the groups so far?
no. So my hot take on this one is I think Flamengo wins the group.
Okay.
They're leading the Brazilian league right now by a point. But Flamengo is a machine in South America, and they've been playing absolutely fantastically this year. So I think they're in good form. So I think Flamengo wins the group. I think Chelsea comes out of it in second. I expect LAFC to finish third in the group.
Okay.
The problem I got, right? I mean, we've talked at some level of this. I just don't think that MLS is at the same standard right now,
No.
consistently, right? Like, you've got a Giroud here, a Messi here. You've got cores of it, but you're talking about you need, you know, probably 15 to 18 guys. Now I get, yeah, Europe's going to come in a little off kilter and not necessarily in super form per se for some of them, but I just don't think MLS has got the caliber right now to play at that level.
I think one of the things is for the European sides, especially the English sides, is this competition has never been taken seriously. This is going to be the first time that I've ever properly watched it and watched it with the interest of it being a proper competition. So
Yeah.
it does depend on almost how they view it. Now, Group E, this one is quite tough, I'm guessing. River Plate, Red Diamonds from Japan, we think. I'm sure it's Japan.
Yeah.
Monterrey, who I know are a good side, and Inter, who have just sacked their manager. They've just actually appointed Chevu, the former defender for them, the Romanian defender, championship manager, wonderkid. So, are we saying, even though they've just replaced manager, Inter are top in this, or can you see Monterrey or River or Red Diamonds beating them?
I think River Plate wins the group. And for
Ooh,
everybody in the
okay.
European listening base, you want to watch River Plate because Francesco. There's a 17-year-old midfielder who Real Madrid just signed, who's going to play for River Plate in the tournament before his transfer to Madrid goes in and he changes sides. He is absolutely insane to watch. His free kick abilities, his ball control, he is just absolutely wild to watch, and he's 17. So I think he is, for a decent side. I mean, River Plate's a pretty darn good team. He is an absolute like difference maker in that world. So I think River Plate wins it. Monterey is traditionally a strong side in Liga
Mm.
MX, and I mean, Liga MX. If you haven't watched and you get an opportunity, check some of that. It's actually really a good league.
I
It's a
know.
lot more physical, but than a lot of European leagues, but it's a very very competitive league.
I know the Wrexham owners have just bought a team, haven't they? In
Yeah, I forget
Mexico.
which
I forget
which
which
one
ones.
it
I
is.
know they play in red and white because Away Days YouTube channel went to watch a game.
Is it?
Um,
It's not Tijuana.
it's
I forget.
gone past me.
But I think Inter has enough quality to get out of here in second. I think Monterey
Yeah.
finished third and Red Diamonds finished fourth in this one.
The Japanese teams are going to be tough. South Korean Japanese teams, you just picture them as very hardworking. That's what I'm expecting to see. I'm expecting to see a team who doesn't stop. So maybe they can almost steamroll past a couple of teams if they get them on the wrong day. Um,
Yeah,
Group F, I'm thinking Fluminense and Dortmund are just going to be too strong for the other
yeah,
two. Are we thinking the same?
yeah, yeah. We're in the same boat on
I
that one.
mean,
Fluminense is a really good side. Is a talented side. Dortmund's had an off year, so
yeah,
I think to
yeah.
your point, Ulsan show up and work hard. I think you could catch Dortmund on a bad day and potentially do some damage there, but Dortmund should, based on just base quality, get through.
A random question: are teams based only on one side of America, or is jet lag going to be an issue?
It's definitely gonna be a thing. I think jet lag is gonna be a problem as well as just general
As the
environment.
tournament goes on, you
Um,
think they might have a fixture one side of the country and the next one's a complete opposite end.
well, you're not necessarily that much, but you're gonna be doing a fair bit of traveling, right?
Yeah.
So like the knockout rounds are in Philadelphia. Most of it's east. They're all on the East Coast, but
Okay.
just to keep the timing good for Europe. But you're talking about like Philadelphia, which is northeast,
Hmm.
Charlotte, which is in kind of the middle, Orlando, which is in central Florida. Miami is in the bottom. Like you ran out of Florida if you go too much further past Miami, and Atlanta. But then you have teams going from Atlanta and Miami up to New Jersey. So even like you're still talking about a 3.5 hour flight,
Yeah.
3 hour flight to get up there. Plus weather's, you're talking about like, you're playing in the middle of July. Hard Rock Stadium in Miami is an outdoor stadium. Atlanta's an indoor stadium. MetLife in New Jersey is an outdoor stadium.
Yeah.
Camping World in Orlando is an outdoor stadium. Bank of America is an outdoor stadium. So you're talking about bringing European teams and playing. I mean, Charlotte in July is mid to upper 30s C with 100
No
100%
chance.
relative humidity.
Be
So
melting.
you're going to be playing. Yeah, it's going to be a real thing.
Yeah.
The environment's going to be a real thing.
I think that's gonna. I think again, you're almost going to be potentially giving advantage to the Brazilian Argentine sides, are we? Just in terms, if
I
they're coming
think
up
so.
against the European side,
Mhm.
what would you say the climate in Brazil at this time of the year, for example, if they were playing compared
It's
to
winter.
it's winter, is it? Okay, so
Yeah.
so am I wrong then saying that they might have an advantage over the European sides?
I would argue that they at least for the Brazilian sides, maybe not so much the Argentine sides, but the Brazilian sides would because they're used. I mean, Brazil, and for anybody who ever plays Football Manager, right? Brazil plays basically from the second week of January till the first week of December between state
It's a long time, isn't it?
championships,
Yeah.
Brazilian Cups, international stuff, and the league. They're basically playing almost all the time.
Mm,
So the teams are conditioned to be playing again across summer and winter. And to be fair, like Flamengo out of Palmeiras is what out of Sao Paulo, Rio. I think Flamengo's out of Rio. Like it's winter, but it's not exactly, it's like French Riviera. It isn't exactly like Antarctica down there. So I think there is an edge to teams being used to a
Yeah,
more um a more difficult climate to play in. I
yeah,
think to your point that the amount of travel, especially for the European sides, is going to be a problem. That even though you're largely based in the northeast, actually, where are let me just double check because I thought so they're actually like group stage stuff is going to be a bit of a pain because they're playing in Seattle and LA as well. So you're going to have teams that are making 6-hour flights across 3-hour time zones um,
that's
between the end of
crazy.
the group stage and and the knockout stages. So travel's a thing. I mean, it's definitely going to be a thing.
Back my microphone. So we'll look at the next group, Group G.
Yep.
There's a big game in this one. So you have Manchester City, Vidad, Al Ain, and Juventus. So Man City and Juventus coming up against each other in the groups. Unless Al Ain have signed £20 billion worth of players in the last week, which you never know. Man City have spent 375 million in the last 6 months. That's absolutely insane.
Boggling to me.
I
Yeah.
assume we're not looking past Man City first, Juventus second.
Yeah, I don't think the other two sides in here are going to be anywhere in this. G is the soft, in my mind. G I think is the softest group.
Yeah,
Um,
easiest group to get out
from a
of.
competitor, yeah, from a competitive
You
perspective,
say
Juve
this,
should
but
walk.
we're going to look at Group H now. Now, yes, Al Hilal have tried to buy the world to do well in this tournament, but they haven't signed as many players as I think they hoped they would. They have Real Madrid, Al Hilal, Pachuca, and Salzburg. So I don't know Pachuca at all. Are they a challenge to Al Hilal for second place? Because Salzburg have not been good domestically this year. So I just can't see them stepping up in this tournament. They have not been good.
So I think Real Madrid goes out in first, Pachuca goes out in second. I think what
Okay.
you're gonna find. So Pachuca's like I think they're fourth or fifth in Liga MX right now, coming out of the Closera. Because they do a opening closing. I think they were fifth coming in the second piece of it. The difference here is going to be I don't think Salzburg or Al Hilal are going to be up for the level of physicality that you're going to get out of Pachuca. They are
Okay.
a very, very physically, imposing side. And I mean, CONCACAF in general, and anybody who follows CONCACAF is going away into Mexico or the Caribbean. Like you are going to get thrown around. Like stuff that happens in those games in those leagues is going to be officiated much stronger in most of Europe,
Hmm.
right? You're looking at more red cards, and this is a lot more like maybe free kicks. A lot of times, like not even that far sometimes. So I think Pachuca's going to bring a level of physicality to it that Salzburg for sure isn't going to be able to match. I think I also think generally speaking, Liga MX sides aren't they play a higher they play a higher brand of and a more sophisticated brand of football than um I think is generally given credit for. The league produces a lot of talent in
Yeah.
general. A lot of it flows into Spain. I mean, it's just easier from a cultural and linguistic perspective,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's a lot higher caliber of talent, I think, than a lot of people realize. I think this is probably the best opportunity for a uh, for a non CONMEBOL or UEFA side to get through.
I think you've definitely gave me the feeling that I want to see Monterrey and Pachuca play to make sure I watch. I mean, I can't guarantee I'm going to watch every single game, but we're going to try our hardest to follow this tournament. Me and you are going to try to come back maybe
Yeah.
twice a week and just recap how it's been going and what's happening. But
Oh,
before we
absolutely.
go,
I would
Colin,
love to see Monterey go through. But they've got a bit of a tough. I think there's a
Yeah, River Plate, Inter,
River
Red
Plate's going to be.
Diamonds.
Yeah, I'm not so concerned about Red Diamonds. I think Monterey River Plate is probably a hell of a game to watch. That's probably a decider. It could go either way. I mean Monterey came out of the Closera at like I think sixth, so it was a little bit of an off second phase for them. All things kind of considered, they were a little sleepy
Yeah.
in CONCACAF Champions League, so they've been a little off. So I'm giving the edge to River Plate in this one. And I also think there's some wild talent in River Plate, but that game's going to be a really good game to watch.
My question for you: Auckland City, are they not the team which is joining the Australian League? Like, pardon me, is fairly sure because isn't another team gone to the Australian League from New Zealand? I'm sure it's Auckland City. Definitely something I'm going to have to look into now. But let's head over to the last thing we're going to be checking.
Actually, yes, you're correct. Auckland FC is currently is at the head of the A League.
I thought they were. I thought they had gone because I knew another team from New Zealand had joined, and I thought it was Auckland City. So they are from the Australian League. So they're not a bunch of amateurs. They're playing in a top level at that continent. It's going to be interesting to see how they do against a team like Benfica.
Yeah, I mean that group. I think. I mean, Group C is a tough hand.
Yeah.
I mean, Benfica's Bayern's Bayern, right? I mean, like let's not mince words. That this group is theirs unless they actively decide they don't want it.
Yeah.
Benfica should roll through. I mean, they're a standard Champions League, domestic, monster.
Yeah.
In there. Boca is generally speaking a talent factory. They've been a little off of late, so I don't think they're going to have enough to get past like a Benfica for second to get out of the group. But they should. It shouldn't be a deep contest for them to knock around Auckland.
Maybe
it could be a decent game, but
maybe the Boca players are maybe not playing so well because they're panicking about the new stadium they're talking about, which looks like a modern bowl. So can you see the screen for this quiz?
I can.
Okay. So, Colin, we have a Discover Your Team quiz we are going to take to end this, where we will be taking a quiz where it gives you a chance to find the team that you are going to support during this tournament. So, let's click take the quiz, and between us, we're going to answer the questions and decide what team we are going to have. So, here we go. Before we get started, help us shape your team. I'm going to select me, Colin, because I have a feeling I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to select that I'm based in Norway and do it that way.
Yep, let's take out let's take out any geographic preference.
Yeah, because then it doesn't give us an English or US. Are you currently a US resident? Not yet. I'm waiting for Colin to fix my green card. What's your favourite? Oh, is this how this is going to go? Right, Colin, do you like tacos, couscous, pizza, or sushi?
I'm a taco man in that.
You're a taco. I do love a taco. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if I've ever had couscous, to be honest with you, Colin. But I do like sushi. I do like pizza. But I do.
Couscous is a good side dish.
What is it? Is it just like rice?
It's more like and a little bit, but they're more like pearl, like I'd say like little pearls. But yeah, conceptually, it's used in a lot of like Middle Eastern dishes.
They should just put rice,
Mediterranean. No, it's a specific, I'd say Mediterranean type piece in there.
Yeah,
it's not bad for using the right dishes, but tacos on that list.
We'll go tacos. Okay, what's your dream vacation? Beach, mountains, countryside, city. I'm desperate to go to New York, but except for New York, I think so. Yeah, Like, I'm not a beach guy. I get bored. So it would be mountains or city. Countryside if there was a golf course. We'll go city. We'll go city.
Yep.
It's match day, Colin. What weather would you prefer to play in? I mean, I hope that's a stupid question. It depends how hot and sunny. Are we talking US hot? Because then I'd rather have light rain. I'm just saying.
I don't think you want to play where I'm at and it's hot and sunny.
Exactly. You'd rather it was like spitting just a little bit, wouldn't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
We'll go light
Makes
rain because we don't want 40 degrees heating us melting. If we asked this is going to be you, Colin. If we asked your friends, how would they describe you? Reliable and steady, laid back and chilled, ambitious and driven, smart and clever.
Oh, let's go smart and clever.
Yeah, I would say smart and clever as well. Okay. What kind of team do you most resonate with in other sports? Passionate and loud, tactical, creative, or hard-working? I'm stuck between tactical and hard-working.
Oh, I'm a creative. I love a good creative and free-flowing side.
Okay, then we'll go with that because I can't decide which one, so we'll go with that. Because I'm stuck between two, so. Shirt style. Bold and iconic. Modern and sleek. Retro inspired or unique. Retro for me.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, I could go retro or bold and iconic. Either one of those is good for me.
Yeah.
Do retro.
Okay. Bold and iconic look quite retro to me as well, to be fair. What should be your team's approach to success? Underdog spirit for me. But only winner matters, history or tradition, ambitious or underdog. What are we thinking?
Oh, I like the underdog.
Yeah. Like, it's nice your team wins, but you don't want them to just throw everything out the window just to win.
We've spent too many times being
That's true and stuff, isn't it?
Winning's not our thing.
Colin, how would you celebrate? I mean, the first one, I'd break every bone in my body.
I would hurt myself.
100%.
The third one, I'd hurt myself.
Yeah. How about the last one, slapping the badge and just walking away?
That's me. That's the least likely one to cause me any long-term injury.
Even the fourth one, he's running a bit too quickly. Messi looks like he's threatening somebody. So we'll go with the last one. We don't want to upset anybody. Right, which team would you like to see perform well? Well, if I tell you that, I'm giving away, aren't I? You're impressed by the Brazilian teams, aren't you? Like, you think they could shock somebody. So which of the Brazilian teams would you like to see go the furthest?
I'd love to see Palmeiras.
Okay.
They caused some trouble last time a little bit. I'd like to see them.
Then we'll click them. Here is our team. What?
We ended up with a South Korean team.
Then a Japanese, and then an Australian, and then the Brazilians.
Go with Palmeiras. I'd love to see them actually pull up some, rip up some.
I think we guys gonna have to go.
The only downside is to Palmeiras making a run is their group. They get it. They're in the if they get out of their group, they'll line up with the Atletico group.
Is that how it would be?
Yeah, so Group A and Group B would meet in the second one. So potentially, if they win theirs and Atletico finishes second, they would slam into each other in the round of 16, which would be. Well, I think would be a hell of a game. I think it'd be a tough matchup.
I have to say that I'm looking here at the first day of matches, and 2:00 in the morning is the first game, so I'm not going to be watching that one, Colin. You can keep me up to date on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to spend a lot of time watching Inter Miami, and it's
buying against Auckland City is at 6:00. I can probably catch some of that. It's bedtime for my little one around 7, but I can probably catch most of that. PSG Atletico doesn't interest me at all, and all European ties don't interest me, to be honest. in terms of groups. I mean, I'll still watch it, but it's like it's one of them ones where you're like, well, I'll watch it because obviously I will.
I'll watch it
Botafogo
because I mean,
Seattle is a 4 o'clock in the morning for me as well. Don't think I can watch that either, to be honest, Colin. Um,
that's a little rough.
you've
I got to tell
got
you, that's a little
Chelsea
rough.
LAFC's 9 o'clock. Boca Benfica. That's the game I wanted to watch. Is at midnight, and then Flamengo against Tunisian side is at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I feel like I'm getting punished here. I'm just saying. But there's some 9 o'clocks.
Yeah,
There
I
is
don't
some
think
nine
anybody's
o'clocks.
doing.
Like Real Madrid
Let's
Al
see.
Hilal 9 o'clock. Man City against WAC 6 o'clock. Pachuca Salzburg. That could be interesting one at midnight. So we do have games we can tune into. But I want to say, Colin, thank you for joining me on today's episode on my brand new football
Absolutely.
channel. And
Absolutely.
we will keep up to date with the Club World Cup in amongst all of my transfer talk videos which I've been putting out. And hopefully you are enjoying all the content. And stay tuned as me and Colin join you again to discuss the likes of Real Madrid, Al Hilal, Pachuca, Salzburg, and all the other games that I was too lazy to stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning to watch. Thank you and see you next time.